First contact and rescue. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Ilara Chen as she gazed through the observation deck of Starbase Omega. The station hung in geosynchronous orbit above Earth, a gleaming beacon of humanity's progress in the cosmos. Ilara's dark eyes reflected the twinkling stars, her mind wandering to the mysteries that lay beyond. A sudden chirp from her comm badge snapped her back to reality. Captain Chen to the bridge, urgent situation developing. The voice of her first officer, Commander Raj Patel, carried a hint of tension that immediately set Ilara on edge. Within moments, Ilara strode onto the bridge, her presence immediately commanding attention. "Report, Commander," she ordered, settling into the captain's chair. Raj's fingers danced across the holographic display. "We've picked up a distress signal, Captain. It's not one of ours." A hush fell over the bridge crew. In the decades since humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel, they had yet to encounter any signs of intelligent alien life. Until now. "Play it," Ilara commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. A series of high-pitched whistles and clicks filled the air, interspersed with bursts of static. To human ears, it was indecipherable, but the universal translator worked furiously to decode the message. "Critical systems failure. Life support failing. Please, help." The translated voice was unmistakably alien, tinged with desperation and fear. Ilara's mind raced. Protocols dictated caution in first contact situations, but every instinct told her that lives were at stake. "Location," she demanded. "The signal is coming from the Kuiper Belt, Captain," the science officer reported. "Approximately 6 hours at maximum warp." Ilara stood, her decision made. "Prep the horizon for immediate launch. We're going to answer that call." As the crew scrambled to prepare, Raj approached Ilara, his voice low. "Captain, are you sure about this? We should consult with Earth Command. This could be a trap, or worse, spark an interstellar incident." Ilara met his gaze, her resolve unwavering. "If it were us out there, Raj, wouldn't we hope someone would come? We have a duty to help, regardless of species." Besides, she added with a hint of a smile, "Isn't this why we joined Starfleet? To explore, to make new discoveries, to boldly go where no one has gone before." Raj nodded, a mix of apprehension and excitement in his eyes. "Aye, Captain. Let's make history." Within the hour, the U.S. horizon, Starbase Omega's rapid response vessel, streaked through space at maximum warp. The bridge hummed with nervous energy as they approached the coordinates of the distress call. "Drop us out of warp," Ilara ordered as they neared their destination. The starfield on the viewscreen shifted, revealing a battered ship of clearly alien design. Its hull was sleek and silvery, marred by scorch marks and debris. Pulsing red lights along its surface spoke of critical damage. "Life signs?" Ilara asked, leaning forward in her chair. The science officer frowned at her readings. "Inconclusive, Captain. Their hull composition is interfering with our scans, but I am detecting an atmosphere inside the ship, though it's rapidly degrading." Ilara stood, her decision made. "Prep a boarding party. Environmental suits with universal translators. We're going in." As her team assembled in the transporter room, Ilara addressed them. "We don't know what we're walking into, people. Stay alert, stay together, and remember, we're here to help. Let's show them the best of humanity." With a nod to the transporter chief, Ilara and her team dematerialized, rematerializing moments later in the alien vessel's dimly lit corridor. The air was thin and acrid, filled with smoke from damaged systems. Emergency lighting pulsed in eerie blue, casting long shadows. "Life support's almost gone," Raj reported, checking his tricorder. "We need to find survivors fast." They moved swiftly through the ship, marveling at the alien architecture even as they searched for signs of life. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and the technology was like nothing they'd ever seen. A faint sound caught Ilara's attention, a weak tapping from behind a sealed door. "Here," she called, rushing towards it. The door's locking mechanism was unlike anything in their database, but Ilara was undeterred. "Engineering, we need this door open now." As her team worked to bypass the alien technology, Ilara pressed her helmet against the door. "Hello? Can you hear me? We're here to help." The tapping grew more insistent. After what felt like an eternity, the door slid open with a hiss. Acrid smoke billowed out, and as it cleared, Ilara's eyes widened in shock. There, huddled in the corner of what appeared to be an escape pod, was an alien. Its skin was a pale lavender, with large, almond-shaped eyes that shimmered with an iridescent sheen. Delicate tendrils framed its face, twitching with each labored breath. One of its limbs was clearly injured, a silvery fluid seeping from a deep gash. The alien's eyes locked with Ilara's, filled with a mix of fear and desperate hope. It chittered weakly, the universal translator struggling to keep up. "Please, help." Ilara approached slowly, her hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. "It's okay," she said softly. "We're here to help you. You're safe now." As she knelt beside the injured alien, Ilara felt the weight of the moment. This was more than a rescue. It was humanity's first true contact with an alien species. The consequences of her actions here would ripple across history. But as she looked into those strange, beautiful eyes, Ilara knew she had made the right choice. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever diplomatic fallout might ensue, saving this life was worth it. With gentle hands, Ilara lifted the alien into her arms. "I've got you," she whispered, though she knew the words wouldn't translate. "Let's get you home." As they beamed back to the horizon, leaving the damaged alien ship behind, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first real step into a larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same. The horizon's sickbay erupted into controlled chaos as Ilara's team materialized with their alien passenger. Dr. Zara Okafor, the ship's chief medical officer, rushed forward, her dark eyes widening at the sight of their unprecedented patient. "On the biobed, now," she ordered, professionalism overriding her shock. As they carefully transferred the alien, its tendrils weakly grasping at Ilara's arm, the captain felt a surge of protectiveness. "Do whatever you have to, Doctor," Ilara said, her voice tight with concern. "We didn't come all this way to lose them now." As Dr. Okafor and her team worked feverishly to stabilize their patient, Ilara reluctantly left sickbay. The bridge needed her, and difficult decisions lay ahead. "Status report," she barked as she entered the bridge, the doors hissing shut behind her. Raj turned from his station, his face grim. "We've sent an encrypted subspace message to Starbase Omega, informing them of the situation. No response yet. As for our guest ship, it's beyond salvaging. The structural integrity is failing rapidly." Ilara nodded, her mind racing. "Download whatever data we can from their systems before it's lost, and scan the area. I want to know if there are any other ships out there, friendly or otherwise." As her crew carried out her orders, Ilara sank into the captain's chair, the weight of command settling heavily on her shoulders. They had saved a life, yes, but at what cost? Had they inadvertently stumbled into an interstellar conflict? Would Earth view her actions as heroic or reckless? A chirp from the comm system interrupted her thoughts. "Sickbay to Captain Chen. You're needed down here immediately." Ilara's heart raced as she hurried back to sickbay. Had their rescue been in vain? As the doors slid open, she braced herself for the worst. Instead, she found Dr. Okafor beaming, her dark skin glistening with sweat, but her eyes alight with excitement. "Captain, you're not going to believe this," she said, gesturing to the biobed. The alien was conscious, its large eyes blinking rapidly as it took in its surroundings. But what truly amazed Ilara was the holographic display hovering above the bed, a real-time visualization of the alien's biology. Its cellular structure is unlike anything I've ever seen, Dr. Okafor explained, her voice filled with wonder. The ability to adapt and regenerate is off the charts. And look at this. She pointed to a pulsing area near what they assumed was the brain. Some kind of biomechanical implant. It seems to be interfacing directly with the nervous system. As if on cue, the alien spoke, its melodic voice now perfectly translated by the ship's computer. Where am I? Who are you? Ilara stepped forward, her heart pounding. This was it. Humanity's first true conversation with an alien species. You're safe, she said softly, trying to project calm and reassurance. I'm Captain Ilara Chen of the Starship Horizon. We answered your distress call. Can you tell us your name? The alien's tendrils rippled, a gesture Ilara couldn't yet interpret. I am Zora, third bioengineering adept of the Lissari Collective. Its gaze darted around the room, a mix of curiosity and apprehension in those otherworldly eyes. You are not Lissari, not Krelat. What are you? We're humans, Ilara explained, fighting to keep her voice steady. From a planet called Earth. We've never encountered your species before. Can you tell us what happened to your ship? Zara's tendrils drooped, a universal sign of distress. Attacked. Ambushed by Krelat warship. They seek our biotech, our advancements. I was escaping with vital data. Suddenly, Zara tried to sit up, panic evident in its movements. The data core. In my ship. It must be recovered. Dr. Okafor gently restrained Zara. Easy now, you're still recovering. Captain. Ilara nodded, understanding the urgency. We'll do our best to retrieve it, Zara. But your ship was badly damaged. Can you tell us more about this data? Why is it so important? Zara's eyes seemed to glow with intensity. It contains everything. Our history, our advancements, the key to our biomechanical fusion. If the Krelat obtain it, a shudder ran through Zora's form. Before Ilara could respond, the ship rocked violently. Red alert klaxons blared as Raj's voice came over the comm. Captain to the bridge immediately. We're under attack. Ilara's blood ran cold. She locked eyes with Zora, seeing her own fear reflected in those alien orbs. Stay here, she ordered, already rushing for the door. Doctor, keep our guest safe at all costs. As she sprinted to the bridge, Ilara's mind raced. First contact, a miraculous rescue. And now this, a battle with an unknown alien force. As the turbolift doors opened onto barely controlled chaos, she steeled herself. Whatever came next, Ilara knew one thing for certain. The fate of two species, perhaps even the galaxy itself, now rested in humanity's hands. And she would be damned if she let them down. Cultural clash and medical crisis. The bridge of the U.S. horizon was a flurry of activity as Captain Ilara Chen burst through the turbolift doors. The view screen showed a massive angular ship bearing down on them, its hull bristling with weaponry. Report. Ilara barked, sliding into the captain's chair. Commander Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console. Unknown vessel, Captain. Matches Zora's description of a Krelat warship. They're hailing us. Ilara took a deep breath, centering herself. On screen. The view screen flickered, revealing a being that could only be described as the antithesis of the graceful Zora. The Krelat commander was a hulking figure, its exoskeleton a mottled gray-green, multiple compound eyes glittering with malice. Unidentified vessel, the alien's voice grated through the translator. You have interfered in matters beyond your comprehension. Surrender the Lissari and all data recovered from their ship, or be destroyed. Ilara stood, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart. This is Captain Ilara Chen of the Earth Starship Horizon. We responded to a distress call, as any sentient beings would. We have no quarrel with you, but we will not abandon those under our protection. The Krelat commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Your species is unknown to us, human. Your naivety is almost endearing. Final warning. Surrender the Lissari, or we will take them by force. The transmission cut off abruptly. Ilara turned to her tactical officer. Shields up, weapons hot, but do not fire unless fired upon. Helm, plot an escape vector back to Earth space. As the crew scrambled to carry out her orders, Ilara's mind raced. They were outgunned and in unknown territory. But she couldn't bring herself to abandon Zora, not after everything they'd risked to save them. The ship rocked as the Krelat opened fire. Evasive maneuvers. Ilara ordered. Return fire. Target their weapons systems only. The horizon dove and weaved, its smaller size allowing it to dance around the lumbering Krelat warship. Phaser fire lanced out, scoring hits against the alien vessel's hull. Their shields are holding, Captain, Raj reported, his voice tight. Our weapons aren't making much of a dent. Ilara gripped the arms of her chair. Keep at it. We just need to buy some time. Ing. Her words were cut off as a particularly vicious hit rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a nearby console, and the lights flickered ominously. Hull breach on Deck 4. An ensign called out. Emergency force fields are holding, but barely. Ilara's comm badge chirped. Sick bay to bridge. Captain, we need you down here immediately. It's Zora. Something's wrong. Torn between the battle raging around them and the mysterious alien under her protection, Ilara made a split-second decision. Raj, you have the bridge. Keep us in one piece. I'm heading to sickbay. As she raced through the corridors, the ship shuddering under continued assault, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that the key to their survival lay with their enigmatic passenger. The doors to sickbay hissed open, revealing a scene of barely controlled chaos. Dr. Okafor and her team hovered around Zora's biobot, their faces masks of concentration and concern. The alien's lavender skin had taken on a sickly pallor, and the biomechanical implants visible beneath the surface pulsed with an erratic rhythm. Report, Doctor, Ilara demanded, rushing to Zora's side. Dr. Okafor's normally steady hand shook as she administered another hypo spray. It's their implants, Captain. The damage from the attack, combined with the stress of our current situation, they're rejecting Zora's organic systems, if we can't stabilize them soon. She didn't need to finish the sentence. Ilara could see the life ebbing from Zora's otherworldly eyes. Zora, Ilara said softly, leaning close. We're doing everything we can to help you, but we need to know, is there anything about your physiology, your technology that could help us save you? Zara's tendrils twitched weakly. The data core, they whispered, their voice barely audible over the ship's groaning hull. It contains everything. Our entire medical database. But without it, Ilara's mind raced. The data core was still on Zora's ship, which was likely nothing more than debris by now. But perhaps, Doctor, she said, an idea forming. What if we could interface directly with Zora's implants? Use our ship's computer to stabilize their systems. Dr. Okafor's eyes widened. It's risky, Captain. We barely understand their biology, let alone their technology. One wrong move, and we could fry their entire nervous system. But it could work. The doctor hesitated, then nodded. Theoretically, yes. But we'd need someone to make the connection, to interpret between our systems and theirs. It would be incredibly dangerous. Ilara straightened, her decision made. Do it. Use me. Captain, I can't in good conscience. That's an order, Doctor. Ilara cut her off. I brought Zora into this. I'm not going to stand by and watch them die. As Dr. Okafor reluctantly began preparations, Ilara tapped her comm badge. Chen to bridge. Status report. Raj's voice came through, strained but determined. We're holding our own, Captain, but barely. Our shields are down to 30%, and we got hull breaches on multiple decks. We can't take much more of this. Ilara closed her eyes, silently praying to whatever cosmic forces might be listening. Understood, Commander. Keep us in the fight as long as you can. I'm attempting a radical solution down here. With any luck, it might just save us all. She cut the communication and turned back to Dr. Okafor. The medical team had set up a complex array of equipment around Zora's biome. Ilara could see neural interfaces, power regulators, and devices she couldn't even begin to identify. "This is going to hurt, isn't it?" she asked, managing a wry smile. Dr. Okafor nodded grimly. "Like nothing you've ever experienced, Captain. Are you absolutely sure about this?" Ilara glanced at Zora, seeing the fear and hope mingled in those alien eyes. She thought of her crew, fighting for their lives against an overwhelming enemy, of the potential for peace or war that hung in the balance of this moment. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Doctor," she said. "Let's make history." As Ilara lay down on the biome next to Zora, electrodes attached to her temples and a neural interface at the base of her skull, she reached out and grasped the alien's hand. Their eyes met, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Initiating neural link in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Okafor's voice faded away as Ilara's world exploded into light and sensation. She was adrift in an ocean of data, alien thoughts and memories swirling around her. The history of the Lissari race flashed before her eyes, their evolution, their technological advancements, their struggles and triumphs. She saw the Krelat threat through Zora's eyes, felt the desperation that had driven them to flee with their people's most precious knowledge. And through it all, Ilara sensed Zora's presence, a brilliant point of light in the chaotic storm of information. She reached out, grasping that light with all her mental strength. "I've got you," Ilara thought, hoping Zora could understand. "Show me how to help you." As if in response, the whirlwind of data coalesced into coherent streams. Ilara saw schematics for the implants, understood their function and purpose. With a thought, she directed the Horizon's computer to interface, to stabilize the failing systems. Pain lanced through her mind as the alien technology merged with her own consciousness. Ilara gritted her teeth, pushing through the agony. She could feel Zora growing stronger, the erratic pulses of the implants smoothing out into a steady rhythm. In sickbay, Dr. Okafor watched in amazement as both human and alien vital signs stabilized. "It's working," she breathed. "I don't know how, but it's actually working." On the bridge, Raj was about to order a desperate last-ditch maneuver when his console lit up with new information. "What in the world?" he muttered, eyes widening as he processed the data. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "I'm detecting a massive energy surge from sickbay. It's interfacing with our systems." Suddenly, the Horizon's shields flared with renewed strength. Weapon systems came online with unprecedented power. The ship moved with newfound agility, easily evading the Krelat's attacks. Reg smiled, understanding dawning. "Whatever you're doing down there, Captain," he said quietly, "keep it up. Tactical, target the Krelat's main power relay. Fire at will." The Horizon's phasers lanced out, guided by a hybrid of human intuition and Lissari precision. They struck the Krelat ship with surgical accuracy, slicing through shields and armor to disable its primary systems. In sickbay, Ilara's body arched off the biobed, her mind aflame with the power coursing through her. She could see the battle raging outside, could feel the ship responding to her thoughts. With a final, monumental effort, she directed all of that energy outward. A pulse of pure energy erupted from the Horizon, engulfing the Krelat ship. When it faded, the alien vessel hung motionless in space, its systems completely neutralized. As the neural link began to fade, Ilara felt a final surge of emotion from Zora, gratitude, wonder, and a profound sense of connection. Then, mercifully, darkness claimed her. She awoke sometime later to the familiar beep of sickbay monitors. Dr. Okafor's concerned face swam into view. "Welcome back, Captain," the doctor said, relief evident in her voice. "You had us worried for a while there." Ilara tried to sit up, wincing at the pounding in her head. "Zara, the ship." "Easy." Dr. Okafor gently pushed her back down. Zara is stable. Whatever you did in there, it worked. As for the ship, well, she smiled. Let's just say you saved a lot more than one life today. As the events of the past few hours came flooding back, Ilara closed her eyes, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had transpired. First contact, a desperate rescue, a battle against impossible odds, and a mental melding that defied explanation. One thing was certain: the universe had just become a much larger, more complex place, and humanity, for better or worse, was now irrevocably part of it. Conspiracy uncovered. The days following the encounter with the Krelat ship were a whirlwind of activity aboard the U.S. horizon. As the ship limped back towards Earth space, its crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage sustained in the battle. Captain Ilara Chen, still recovering from the intense neural link with Zara, found herself at the center of a storm of questions, theories, and diplomatic concerns. In sickbay, Zara's recovery progressed at an astonishing rate. The merger of Lissari biotechnology with human medical science had produced results that left Dr. Okafor both amazed and slightly unnerved. "It's remarkable," the doctor explained during one of Ilara's checkups. "Zara's implants have fully integrated with their organic systems. They're adapting, evolving in real time. I've never seen anything like it." Ilara nodded, absently rubbing her temples where the neural interface had been attached. The headaches were fading, but the memories, Zara's memories, remained vivid. "And what about the data we recovered? Have you made any progress decoding it?" Dr. Okafor's expression turned grave. "That's complicated, Captain. The sheer volume of information is staggering. Medical knowledge, technological schematics, historical records, it's all there. But there's something else, something hidden beneath the surface. I think you need to see this for yourself." She led Ilara to a secure terminal where Commander Raj Patel was already waiting, his face a mask of concern. "Captain," he greeted her, "how are you feeling?" "Like I went 10 rounds with a Klingon," Ilara quipped, managing a small smile. "But I'll live. What have you found?" Raj tapped a few commands, bringing up a holographic display of intricate alien code. "We've been working around the clock to decrypt the Lissari data core. Most of it is straightforward enough. They're scientific advancements, cultural records, that sort of thing. But there's a heavily encrypted section that took us until now to crack. And what we found? Well, it's troubling to say the least." The display shifted, showing what appeared to be communication logs, tactical data, and detailed schematics of weapon systems far beyond anything Ilara had ever seen. "This isn't just scientific research," Ilara said slowly, her eyes widening as she took in the information. "This is military intelligence," Raj finished for her. "Specifically, intelligence on the Krelat. Their fleet movements, defensive capabilities, even potential weaknesses in their physiology. It's everything you'd need to wage a devastating war." Ilara's mind raced, fragments of Zara's memories flashing through her consciousness. But the Lissari, they presented themselves as peaceful. Zara believed they were victims, that the Krelat were the aggressors. "It appears the situation might be more complex than we initially thought," Dr. Okafor said gently. "Captain, there's more. We found this buried deep in the encrypted files." She brought up a new image, a star chart of a region of space far beyond Earth's current exploration range. Several systems were highlighted with ominous notations in the Lissari language. "Potential colony sites," Raj translated, his voice tight. "And look at this notation here. Minimal indigenous resistance expected. Captain, I think we've stumbled into the middle of something much bigger than a simple conflict between two species." Ilara sank into a nearby chair, her head spinning with the implications. Had they been deceived? Was Zora aware of this information, or merely an unwitting pawn in a larger game? "We need to talk to Zora," she said finally, standing with renewed determination. "If there's a conspiracy here, we need to uncover the truth before we inadvertently start an interstellar war." As they made their way back to Zora's private room in sickbay, Ilara couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The Neuralink had left her with more than just headaches. There was a newfound intuition, a sense that she was missing something crucial. They found Zora sitting up in bed, their lavender skin now vibrant with health, tendrils moving with graceful curiosity as they examined a PADD containing human literature. "Captain," Zora greeted them, those alien eyes lighting up with what Ilara now recognized as genuine warmth. "I was hoping to see you. I wanted to express my gratitude for all that you and your crew have done. You've not only saved my life, but potentially the future of my entire species." Ilara steeled herself, hating what she was about to do, but knowing it was necessary. "Zora," she began carefully, "we've managed to decrypt the data from your ship, and we found some concerning information. I need you to be completely honest with me. What is the true nature of the conflict between the Lissari and the Krelat?" Zora's tendrils stiffened, a flicker of something, fear, guilt, passing across their features. I'm not sure I understand, Captain. As I told you, the Krelat have been aggressive expansionists, threatening our way of life. We've only ever sought to defend ourselves." Raj stepped forward, bringing up the holographic display of the military intelligence. "Then how do you explain this? Detailed plans for offensive operations against the Krelat, schematics for weapons of mass destruction, strategies for planetary occupation. This goes far beyond self-defense." "Zora." The alien's eyes darted between the humans, their tendrils writhing in obvious distress. "You don't understand," Zora said, their melodic voice taking on a pleading tone. "The Krelat, they're not what you think. They're not even a naturally evolved species. They're a creation, a bioweapon developed by—" Suddenly, Zora's words were cut off as their body went rigid. The biomechanical implants beneath their skin pulsed with an angry red light, and a high-pitched keening filled the air. "Doctor," Ilara shouted as Zora began to convulse. Dr. Okafor rushed forward, her medical tricorder already scanning. "Some kind of failsafe," the doctor said, her voice tight with concentration. "It's like their implants are trying to shut down their higher brain functions. Captain, I think someone doesn't want Zora talking." As the medical team worked frantically to stabilize Zora, Ilara's mind raced. The pieces were starting to fall into place. The hidden data, Zora's reaction, the sudden activation of a failsafe. This wasn't just a conspiracy. It was a cover-up of galactic proportions. "Raj," she said, turning to her first officer, "I need you to compile everything we've learned so far and send an encrypted message to Starfleet Command. Tell them." She paused, the weight of her next words heavy on her shoulders. "Tell them we may have inadvertently brought Earth into an interstellar war." As if in response to her grim declaration, the ship's red alert klaxons began to blare. "Bridge to Captain Chen." A panicked voice came over the comm. "Multiple unknown vessels just dropped out of warp. They're on an intercept course. Weapons hot." Ilara exchanged a look of grim determination with Raj. Whatever was coming, they were now irrevocably involved. The truth behind the Lissari-Krelat conflict, the potential threat to Earth, and the fate of Zora all hung in the balance. As she rushed towards the bridge, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that the next few hours would determine not just the fate of her ship and crew, but potentially the future of humanity itself in this suddenly much larger and more dangerous galaxy. Battle for the truth. The bridge of the U.S. horizon was a maelstrom of activity as Captain Ilara Chen burst through the turbolift doors. The main view screen displayed a terrifying sight. A fleet of sleek, predatory ships, their designs a hybrid of Lissari and Krelat technology, bearing down on them with clear hostile intent. "Report," Ilara barked, sliding into the captain's chair. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, the ship's tactical officer, responded without taking her eyes off her console. "5 unknown vessels, Captain. They're not responding to hails. Energy signatures suggest weapons far beyond our capabilities." Ilara's mind raced, fragments of Zora's memories flashing through her consciousness. She recognized the ships, not quite Lissari, not quite Krelat, but something engineered. Evasive maneuvers, she ordered. Helm, set course for the nearest spatial anomaly. That pulsar we passed on our way here. Tactical, ready all weapons, but do not fire unless fired upon. As the horizon banked hard, narrowly avoiding the first salvo from the alien fleet, Ilara tapped her comm badge. Chen to sickbay. Dr. Okafor, what's Zora's status? The doctor's voice came through, tense with concentration. We've managed to stabilize them, Captain, but barely. Whatever failsafe was triggered, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if their entire neural network is being rewritten in real time. Ilara gritted her teeth. They needed answers, and they needed them now. Keep working on it, Doctor, and prepare for potential casualties. We're in for one hell of a fight. The ship rocked violently as enemy fire found its mark. Shields down to 60%. Tanaka reported. Captain, at this rate, we won't last long. Return fire. Ilara commanded. Target their weapons arrays. And someone get me a damn solution. There has to be a way out of this. As the horizon desperately fought against overwhelming odds, Ilara's mind whirled with possibilities. The neural link with Zora had left her with more than just memories. There was knowledge there, buried deep, if she could only access it. Suddenly, an idea struck her. It was risky, potentially suicidal, but it might be their only chance. Raj, she said, turning to her first officer, take the con. I need to get back to sickbay. Commander Patel's eyes widened in surprise. Captain, with all due respect, we're in the middle of a battle. Your place is here, on the bridge. Ilara stood, her voice filled with a confidence she didn't entirely feel. Trust me, Raj. I think I know a way to end this. But I need to link with Zora again. Before Raj could protest further, Ilara was already in the turbolift. As she raced towards sickbay, the ship shuddering under continued assault, she silently prayed her hunch was correct. The scene in sickbay was one of controlled chaos. Dr. Okafor and her team worked feverishly over Zora's prone form, the alien skin now a sickly gray, their implants pulsing with an erratic, angry light. Doctor, Ilara said, striding purposefully towards the biobed. I need you to link me with Zora again. Dr. Okafor looked up, shock evident on her face. Captain, that's far too dangerous. The neural stress could kill you both. We don't have a choice, Ilara insisted. There's something in Zora's mind, something they were trying to tell us before the failsafe kicked in. It might be our only chance to survive this. For a moment, Dr. Okafor looked like she might refuse. Then, another violent shudder ran through the ship, and she nodded grimly. All right, but I'm setting a time limit. 5 minutes, Captain. After that, I'm pulling you out, no matter what. As the medical team rushed to prepare the neural interface, Ilara took a deep breath, centering herself. She thought of her crew, fighting for their lives on the bridge. Of Earth, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking in the depths of space. Of Zora, trapped in their own mind by forces they didn't fully understand. I'm ready, she said, lying down on the biobed next to Zora. The familiar sensation of the neural link washed over her, but this time it was different. Instead of the ordered streams of data she'd experienced before, Ilara found herself in a chaotic mindscape, fragments of memories and emotions swirling around her like a digital tornado. Zora, she called out, her mental voice echoing in the void. Zora, I know you're in here somewhere. We need your help. A flicker of recognition, a tendril of consciousness reaching out. Ilara grasped it, pulling herself deeper into Zora's fractured psyche. Suddenly, she was there, a pocket of calm in the storm. Zora's mental avatar stood before her, looking lost and afraid. Captain. Zora's voice was weak, distorted. I'm sorry. I didn't know, didn't understand. It's all right, Ilara soothed, reaching out to steady the alien presence. But we need answers, Zara. What were you trying to tell us before? Who created the Krelat? Zara's form flickered, the failsafe protocols threatening to overtake them again. Not who. They manage. What? The Krelat. They're us. An experiment. Lissari bioengineering gone wrong. Images flash through Ilara's mind. Lissari scientists creating a new form of life, designed to be the perfect soldiers. The Krelat, breaking free of their creator's control, turning on them. A war that had raged for centuries, with neither side willing to admit the truth. The ships attacking us. Ilara pressed, aware that their time was running out. What are they? Abominations. Zara's mental voice was filled with sorrow and disgust. Lissari minds in Krelat bodies. The next stage in the war. They want the data core to complete the transformation. Understanding dawned on Ilara. The conspiracy, the cover-up. It all made sense now. The Lissari weren't victims. They were the architects of their own destruction. And now they threatened to drag the rest of the galaxy into their madness. How do we stop them? Ilara asked urgently. Zara's form began to fade, the chaotic swirl of the failsafe protocols closing in. The core. It's the key. Destroy it. End the cycle. With a violent wrench, Ilara found herself back in her own body, gasping for air on the sickbay biome. Dr. Okafor hovered over her, concern etched on her features. Captain, are you all right? What happened? Ilara sat up, her head pounding, but her mind clear. We've been played, Doctor, but now we know how to end this. She tapped her comm badge. Chen to bridge. Raj, I need you to target the data core. Destroy it at all costs. Captain, Raj's confused voice came through. The core is in our cargo bay. Are you sure? That's an order, Commander. Ilara cut him off. Trust me, it's the only way to save us all. As she raced back to the bridge, Ilara could only hope she was making the right choice. The fate of not just her ship, but potentially entire civilizations, hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine whether they had just saved the galaxy or condemned it to unending war. The turbolift doors opened, revealing a bridge bathed in the red glow of battle alerts. Ilara strode to her chair, her voice carrying over the chaos. Status report. Raj turned, relief evident on his face despite the dire situation. Shields at 30%, multiple hull breaches. We've managed to take out 2 of the enemy ships, but the others are still coming. And Captain, they're trying to transport the data core off our ship. Ilara's jaw set in determination. Not if I have anything to say about it. Tactical, target our own cargo bay. Full spread of quantum torpedoes. The bridge fell silent for a moment, the crew looking at their captain in shock. Raj stepped closer, his voice low. Ilara, are you sure about this? That data could be invaluable to Earth's defense, to our understanding of the galaxy. It's also the key to a war that could consume the entire quadrant. Ilara replied, her voice firm. Sometimes, Raj, the only way to win is to change the rules of the game. Now, carry out my order. Lieutenant Tanaka's fingers flew over her console. Torpedoes armed and ready, Captain. But our own shields are still up. We'll take heavy damage. Ilara took a deep breath. Drop shields, fire torpedoes, and immediately jumped to maximum warp. Plot a course directly into the pulsar's radiation field. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, years of training kicking in despite the unorthodox orders. The horizon shuddered as its shields dropped, enemy fire impacting the hull. But before the attacking ships could capitalize on the vulnerability, a spread of quantum torpedoes erupted from the ship's launchers. The explosion rocked the horizon violently, alarms blaring as the cargo bay was obliterated along with the precious, dangerous data core. In the same instant, the ship leaped to warp, streaking away from the battlefield towards the distant pulsar. On the view screen, Ilara watched as the pursuing ships faltered, clearly confused by the horizon's self-destructive actions. As they entered the pulsar's intense radiation field, the enemy vessels fell back, unwilling or unable to follow. "Damage report," Ilara called out, gripping her chair as the ship bucked and groaned around them. "Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7, Raj reported, his voice tight. "Warp core temperature rising. We can't stay in this radiation for long, Captain." Ilara nodded grimly. "Hold position. Let's make sure they can't follow us." For several tense minutes, the horizon rode the edge of destruction, its hull creaking under the strain of the pulsar's intense energies. Finally, when Ilara was certain they'd lost their pursuers, she gave the order to retreat. As the ship limped out of the radiation field, the immediate danger past, Ilara allowed herself a moment to breathe. They'd survived, against all odds, but the revelations of the past few hours weighed heavily on her. "Raj," she said quietly, "send a Priority 1 encrypted message to Starfleet Command. We've got one hell of a report to make." In sickbay, Zora's eyes fluttered open, the angry red glow of their implants fading to a soft, steady blue. As Dr. Okafor rushed to examine them, the alien's gaze found Ilara's across the room. In that moment of shared understanding, both human and Lissari knew that nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy had changed, and they had been the catalyst. For better or worse, a new chapter in interstellar relations had begun. As the Horizon made its long journey back to Earth, its crew battered but unbroken, Captain Ilara Chen couldn't help but wonder what challenges and wonders awaited them in this brave new universe they'd stumbled into. One thing was certain: humanity's first steps into the galactic community had been anything but quiet. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. A new understanding. The journey back to Earth was a somber one for the crew of the U.S. Horizon. As the ship limped through space, its hull scared and systems barely holding together, Captain Ilara Chen found herself grappling with the weight of recent events. The destruction of the Lissari data core had averted an immediate crisis, but the ramifications of their encounter with the Lissari and Krelat were only beginning to unfold. In her ready room, Ilara stared out at the stars streaking by, a cup of now cold coffee forgotten on her desk. The door chimed, breaking her reverie. "Enter," she called, turning to see Commander Raj Patel step inside, a PADD in his hand and a concerned look on his face. "Captain," he began, "I finished compiling our report for Starfleet Command. It's extensive." Ilara managed a wry smile. "I imagine so. And first contact situation, a space battle, and the uncovering of an interstellar conspiracy. Not exactly a routine mission, was it?" Raj shook his head, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips despite the gravity of the situation. "No, ma'am. Definitely not routine." His expression sobered. "How do you think Starfleet will respond?" "This changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy." Ilara sighed, running a hand through her hair. "Honestly, Raj, I have no idea. We've opened Pandora's box here. The existence of the Lissari and Krelat alone is going to shake Earth to its core. And that's before we get into the ethical minefield of their conflict." She stood, pacing the length of her ready room. "We destroyed invaluable scientific data that could have advanced Earth's technology by centuries. Some will say we had no right to make that call." "With all due respect, Captain," Raj interjected, "we didn't have much of a choice. That data was a weapon, one that could have sparked a war that would have consumed the entire quadrant." Ilara nodded, grateful for her first officer's unwavering support. "I know, and I stand by my decision. But the fallout, it's going to be significant." As if on cue, her comm badge chirped. "Bridge to Captain Chen. We're receiving a priority transmission from Starfleet Command." Ilara and Raj exchanged a look. This was it, the moment of truth. "Patch it through to my ready room," Ilara ordered, steeling herself for whatever came next. The face that appeared on her view screen was one she recognized immediately. Admiral Thela Shuror, a formidable Andorian woman known for her sharp intellect and even sharper tongue. Captain Chin, the Admiral's antennae twitched with barely contained energy. I just finished reading your preliminary report. To say that Starfleet Command is concerned would be an understatement of galactic proportions. Ilara straightened, her chin lifting slightly. I understand, Admiral. The situation was unprecedented. Unprecedented doesn't begin to cover it, Captain. Giroir cut her off. You've single-handedly altered the course of human history. The existence of the Lissari and Krelat, this bioengineering technology that's centuries beyond our own. The implications are staggering. The Admiral's expression softened slightly. That being said, Starfleet Command agrees that your actions, while extreme, were necessary given the circumstances. The destruction of the data core likely prevented a catastrophic escalation of hostilities. Ilara felt a wave of relief wash over her, but it was short-lived. However, Giroir continued, her tone growing serious once more. This incident has made it clear that Earth can no longer afford to be reactive in its approach to interstellar relations. The galaxy is a far more complex and dangerous place than we ever imagined, which is why I'm here to inform you of a new directive from the Federation Council. The view screen split, showing a schematic of a massive space station unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. This is Deep Space Nova, Giroir explained. A new type of starbase designed to serve as a hub for diplomacy, scientific research, and defense on the very edge of known space. And Captain Chen, you're being offered command of it. Ilara's eyes widened in surprise. Admiral, I'm honored, but surely there are more qualified. You've demonstrated a unique ability to navigate complex interspecies situations, Captain, Giroir interrupted. Your experiences with the Lissari and Krelat, not to mention your neural link with Zara, make you uniquely qualified for this position. Deep Space Nova will be our first line of contact with whatever else is out there in the galaxy. We need someone who can think on their feet and make the tough calls when necessary. As the implications of this new assignment sank in, Ilara's mind raced with possibilities. A chance to shape humanity's approach to a suddenly much larger universe. To potentially prevent conflicts before they started. To explore and learn in ways she never imagined possible. What about Zara? She asked, suddenly remembering their Lissari guest, and the potential threat from their people. That's part of why we need you on Deep Space Nova, Captain, Giroir replied. Zara will be coming with you, as will a team of Federation scientists assigned to study Lissari biotechnology, with their full cooperation, of course. As for the larger Lissari and Krelat situation, well, that's going to require some delicate diplomacy. Ilara nodded, understanding the enormous responsibility being placed on her shoulders. When do we leave? As soon as the horizon reaches Earth. You'll have time to select your senior staff. I suggest starting with the crew that's been through this crucible with you. Deep Space Nova launches in 3 weeks. As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to Raj, seeing her own mix of excitement and apprehension mirrored in his eyes. Well, number 1, she said with a small smile. It looks like our adventure is just beginning. Care to join me on a journey to the edge of known space? Raj grinned, snapping to attention. Wouldn't miss it for the world, Captain. As they left the ready room to inform the rest of the crew, Ilara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and dangers they had yet to imagine. But with her crew by her side, and the lessons learned from their encounter with the Lissari and Krelat, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The U.S. horizon continued its journey back to Earth, carrying with it the seeds of a new era in human history. As Ilara looked out at the stars, she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what the future held. The next chapter in humanity's journey to the stars was about to begin, and she was ready to help write it. In the ship's science lab, Zara stood before a window, their lavender skin shimmering in the starlight. The Lissari turned as Ilara entered, those alien eyes now filled with a mix of sorrow and hope. "Captain," Zara greeted her, tendrils moving in a gesture Ilara had come to recognize as respect. "I owe you and your crew a debt I can never fully repay. And an apology. My people's deception has brought great danger to yours." Ilara moved to stand beside the alien, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. "You're not responsible for the actions of your entire species, Zora. What matters now is what we do going forward." She turned to face the Lissari, her expression serious but kind. "I've been given command of a new station, Deep Space Nova. It's going to be our gateway to the unknown, a place where we can work towards understanding and peace between all species. I'd like you to join us there." Zara's tendrils rippled with surprise. "You would still trust me? After everything that's happened?" "Trust has to start somewhere," Ilara replied with a small smile. "Besides, I think I got to know you pretty well during our neural link. Your desire for peace, for understanding, that was real. We can use that." The Lissari was quiet for a moment, considering. "My people have done terrible things, Captain. The Krelat, the weapons we've created, there's so much to atone for." "Then help us find a way to make it right," Ilara urged. "Your knowledge, your perspective. It could be the key to preventing further conflict, to finding a solution that benefits everyone." Zara's tendrils moved in what Ilara now recognized as a gesture of agreement. "Very well, Captain. I will join you on Deep Space Nova. Perhaps together, we can forge a new path for all our peoples." As they stood there, human and Lissari united in purpose, Ilara felt a surge of hope. The road ahead would be challenging, fraught with diplomatic minefields and unknown dangers, but it was also filled with potential for discovery, for growth, and for a future where the stars were not a barrier, but a bridge between civilizations. The Horizon's journey was ending, but a new voyage was just beginning. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, and the crew prepared for their next great adventure, Ilara Chen knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Humans, Lissari, and whatever new allies they might find among the stars. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was ready to take its place as a force for peace, understanding, and exploration in this brave new universe.